The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 472. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She's a film and television producer, and I'm just really excited to have her on today to share her story on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Julia Tsai. Julia, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to our listeners.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me on, Sheena. Where do I start? I used to be a lawyer. I still am. I still have my law license, but I did that for about a decade. I was in and out of court. I was an employment and business law litigator. And right around my 6th or 7th year of being an attorney, I decided not to do this anymore and to go into something completely different. And here I am in the entertainment industry.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, kudos to you for making a leap like that. I know it's probably not as easy. And, to just even take that step forward to leave something that's comfortable to go out there to do what you love is, a success on its own. So congrats again. And Julia, what's your cultural background?
So I'm a second-generation Taiwanese American, and there was just never any question to me being Taiwanese as I was growing up. I speak Taiwanese with my immediate and extended family. Both sides of my family have been in Taiwan for generations. Like how people in America can trace their ancestry to Mayflower, that's about how long both sides of my family have been in Taiwan. And I used to take great offense as to people not knowing where Taiwan was or is, or just not knowing very much about it. And now I take it as a teachable moment.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
So I have two. There's one from Leonard Cohen. It's a lyric from his song Amp. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. And then there's another one from Hazrat Inayat Khan, and it's God breaks the heart again and again and again until it stays open. And I like those two quotes because they remind me of this practice in Japanese pottery where whenever there's a crack in the actual piece, instead of throwing it out or casting it away, they would fill in the cracks with, I believe it's gold lacquer. And so you get this amazing piece that just has, these webs of gold all around it. And it just turns into an even more phenomenal and even more beautiful piece. And that's very true of the human condition. It's like we're just a lot of pain and a lot of hurt. But from that, we become much better people and much brighter and much shinier people.
Thanks for sharing those quotes. And I really love that meaning that you mentioned about cracks, right? We see cracks as something negative, right? Like just in our lives when something bad happens, it's like the end of the world. But, it's those cracks that make us stronger, gives us the opportunities that actually attract to us. And if we can see it in a positive light versus in a negative, then, wonderful things can happen. So I really love those quotes that you mentioned. And, in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
I'm still working on that every single day, but the way that I see it now is that it's my higher self. So the self that is my ideal Julia merging with my current self, the current Julia. And when those two meet, through meditation or just through, me following my intuition, that's when I am my most self-confident self.
Thanks for sharing that. And that's a great definition that you mentioned. What was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
So I like to call myself judgmental Julia before I found self-confidence. I was very judgmental of the people around me and of things that were happening around me. And I recently learned that whenever I am being judgmental of other people or of things, I am judging myself on those exact same principles. And so I was just being my own worst enemy, just day in and day out. I also like to tell myself a lot of stories about people. So I would just immediately assume that someone wasn't interested in what I had to say, or I wouldn't be interested in what they would have to say. So I ended up isolating myself. I didn't talk to a lot of people because of those judgments. And then because I was isolating myself, I was just throwing off this super selfish energy, and I was just getting that back from the people around me. And so I was just lonely and I was super judgmental, and I just really wasn't happy.
Thanks for sharing that. And that's something we can all relate to, right? Being judgmental, especially with ourselves. Like you mentioned, we are our own worst enemy, right? Sometimes we look in the mirror and we see like 100 different things that's wrong with us, and we forget like 1,000 things that's right about us. But it's it's something that we all go through, right? I still go through it. I'm sure you do. I'm sure listeners do it all the time. But it's learning to just be aware that you have strengths, and your strengths are just as beautiful as your flaws, and it makes you the person that you are. And what was that point in your life when you realized you can be the person that you are today, go out and do the things that you want, have that confidence to even take that step forward? What was that aha moment?
So the aha moment was around that 6th or 7th year being an attorney. I really didn't like my job at the time. I really thought all my life that I was going to make it as partner at a law firm. And I didn't get that. And it just kind of rocked me to my core. And then I just realized I don't even like what I'm doing as an associate attorney. And it's just 100 times more of this kind of work if I were to make partner. So what is it that I'm really going after? And my body eventually caught up with me and just said, Julia, just not doing this work anymore. And I just went into this very long period of chronic fatigue. And I wasn't doing very well health-wise. And I thought, okay, I'm supposed to get out of law. I know that. I was introduced to a multi-level marketing company, and I thought that was the reason. I don't knock MLMs, but it just wasn't for me. And it took maybe about another year. I went back to another law job thinking a different area of law would help. It didn't. And just more soul searching and just finally hiring a life and business coach to really get me to where I am today. So my process was not smooth at all. It was 2 years of a lot of chaos. But that's okay. I am where I am right now, and I don't feel like I've lost any time doing it. I don't regret the 2 years of really searching.
Thanks for sharing that. And sometimes, we have to go through those obstacles and experiences in our lives to, appreciate where we are today, right? If we never gone through them, we wouldn't be the person that we are. We wouldn't be as strong, as confident, take that next step to be in alignment of what we believe in. And, because of what you've been through, what's your life been like now?
So my life now, I meditate almost every single morning, if not every single day. And it's my favorite 12 minutes of the day because this is where I get to talk with my higher self. This is where I get to, she helps map out what my career is supposed to look like and what my life is supposed to look like. And she's become my best friend. So I'm not my worst enemy anymore. It's amazing. I'm not as judgmental of other people and other things anymore. I catch myself when I do it and go, okay, Julia, let's cool it. Let's acknowledge it and just let it go. Yeah, so that's been my life right now. And it's still, I still struggle every single day, but it's that meditation that just kind of reorients me. It gets me back on track.
Thanks for sharing that. And, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey of self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
Probably the meditation, because that helped me a lot. And also journaling, since I feel that journaling is a form of meditation in and of itself. It's just this act of you just being quiet with yourself and just listening. It's like, what is it that I really need? And what is it that's going to get me through today?
Thanks for sharing those tips. And, journaling is always great. There's something magical about, writing whatever it is down on paper, right? How your day was, what you're feeling, what are your thoughts, whether good or bad, to just write it out and kind of let it out and let it go so you can have more new energy come in and be that confident person. Again, makes a huge difference, right? It's like all these small daily actions that lead to maximum results. So thanks for sharing those tips. And Julia, if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do and check out your work, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
So I do have an Instagram account up for my production company. It's 9 Tails Media. So it's 9 spelled out. Tails is in like the dog tail, and then media. But also I could be found on LinkedIn. I could be found on Facebook as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Julia, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Julia's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I just really want to thank Julia today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you.
Not a problem. It was really great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com to check out cool resources, blog articles, show recaps, and so much more. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.